Undertale, a game that utilizes typical elements from RPGs and puts a twist on them, was created by a developer who made the game with the coding equivalent of a duct tape with a banana. However, with his incredible storytelling skills and the amazing music of Undertale, he changed the lives of many, including mine. It is often referred to as a parody of RPGs. Parody is often used loosely online, but in visual culture, what exactly does it mean? Parody art, also known as irony, satire, or spoof art, reimagines an existing artwork with a modern twist. This twist could be humorous, a mockery, or a criticism of the original work. Undertale was a massive success, due to which the creator Toby Fox decided to make a sequel. Well, not exactly. Its spiritual sequel, as I'd call it, is called Deltarune. While it does share some characters and some basics of combat, and also having a character that could potentially be the same in both universes, but hey, that's just a theory. Deltarune is an improvement in a lot of Undertale's mechanics. So Undertale could be seen as a tree. The tree's perfect, it's amazing. However, Deltarune is like a treehouse on top of that tree, making it much cooler, which could be linked to intertextuality. According to Ebesco, I guess, intertextuality is a literature concept that describes how texts reference or draw from one another, creating layers of meaning, which is exactly what I described Deltarune as. A build-up upon the layers left by Undertale. A throwback, as you could call it. However, Deltarune is more than just a throwback. It is not only a collaborative effort that functions as a pastiche, it is a blend of visual, mechanical, and narrative references from games such as Earthbound, Chrono Trigger, etc. Through its intertextual visual language and emotionally layered character writing, Deltarune shows how pastiche in visual culture can do more than replicate old forms. It can also question, expand, and redefine them. While Undertale openly parodied RPG mechanics by offering non-violent options and punishing the player with harder fights and a bad ending for choosing violence, subverting the expected game logic, Deltarune continues this tradition in a more subtle, layered way. Rather than mock the player outright, Deltarune critiques the illusion of choice. For example, early in the game, the player is asked to create a character and name them, then also design them, only to have their creation discarded. The moment undermines the common RPG trope of customizing a player avatar, parodying the idea that the player truly controls the narrative. This act of undermining expectations serves as a meta-commentary on the player's role in games. It uses the familiar RPG setup as a basis to build something that questions the game's design and the player's choices, especially the freedom typically offered to players. The parody here is not just humorous, it's reflective, asking players to consider what kind of freedom games allow, with its many scenarios where our main character, Chris, takes back their control. With that, this point is strengthened. Deltarune has many moments of pastiche as well. The pastiche's basic definition is an artwork in a style that imitates another work. We can see this particularly in Chapter 2 with the boss fight with Queen being a pastiche of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, as well as the start of Chapter 3 clearly being a pastiche of the original Legend of Zelda or, well, similar older RPGs. Deltarune not only uses these topics as a means of humor, but uses them well in context to explore its narrative and expand upon it, as well as even characters such as Spamtons are a direct parody of a direct parody of old failed internet businesses that somehow are still alive, but extremely outdated, as well as Mr. TV Head being a parody of game show hosts and mascots of corporations. It blends elements from various sources with and without mockery. Deltarune is an example of a pastiche, parody, and intertextuality in action. It fuses aesthetics, mechanics from classical games and media into a polished and incredible game. I have not fully played it yet, however, I am in the process of completing it soon enough, and it's genuinely one of the best games I've ever played. Now, Toby Fox's Deltarune is more than a nostalgic callback or a sequel. It's a case study of how postmodern media remix the past and produce new meanings. Through parody, it critiques the conventions of game design and the illusion of choice. Through intertextuality, it layers references to its predecessors and gaming history to conduct a complex emotional experience. And through pastiche, it fuses genres and aesthetics into a unique artistic voice. It is a love letter to RPGs and video games as a whole. In visual culture terms, Deltarune is not just a game. It is a remix, a conversation, and a meditation on media it comes from. It shows us that the best works of today are not those that directly imitate everything, rather those that reimagine everything.